All right, back here on Inside Wrestling Radio, and we're up on the interview portion of the program. And this is going to be a treat. I haven't talked with this guy in quite some time. We keep in contact somewhat sporadically, but he's busy, and I'm busy too. And it's just a pleasure to have him finally come on the radio. I think I've been promoting Jim since we first started, before I actually even had him booked. And but it's Jim Mitchell.
False advertising for a while there.
Yeah, you're right. I was trying to get some listeners.
It was like WCW 1991.
Yeah, I was trying to get some listeners before we actually even kicked off, so I started throwing some names around, some people I knew. But anyway, welcome to the program, Jim Mitchell. And Jim has been around for several years. I actually met him back in 1989. He actually managed Mickey and I as a tag team. And he managed us for about 3 years before he got to work for Cornette up at Smoky Mountain, and then we'll pick it up right there from where he went forward. And then he said he wanted to talk about some old Regal stories, so I guess we'll talk about some things.
Yeah, you know what? Here's my deal, Rikki.
Go ahead.
Regal.
Go ahead. Oh, by the way, welcome to the show, Jim.
Everybody, you can go to any damn radio show or internet interview, whatever, and everybody's heard everything from once I was on TV. Let's have some fun and kick it old school.
Do it old school, huh?
Well, let's talk about the early days. Let's reveal some stuff no one knows. The trials and tribulations.
Yeah, Jimmy,
trying to get into the business.
I don't know that we can talk about a good portion of those things that you're bringing up, Jimmy. So I don't remember, this is real radio. This isn't internet stuff. So you got to really kind of be careful about what we talk about.
Okay, I can work within those parameters.
Before we do get to the old stories there, though, really quickly, give the people who may not know you, and I can't believe there's anybody out there who don't know you, but just give a brief synopsis of your career and what got you into wrestling and where all you went.
Okay, brief synopsis. I was a little moron who loved wrestling when I was a kid. I became a singer because there was no way to get into the wrestling business. It was like trying to break into the mafia. See, I've said this 100 times. You can find this exact quote somewhere else.
Sure.
But started singing, was working at a bar, and there was a guy named Bubba Kirk there.
Right.
Whose brother-in-law owned the bar. He was the first wrestler that I really met and got to know. He basically said to me, because I was doing wrestling stuff on stage, my rap was, Roddy Piper, Ric Flair stuff, instead of everybody else's lame-ass Kip Winger routine.
Right, you were cutting promos, basically.
Yeah, I was cutting promos. Yeah. I was a heel guy.
Right.
And he said, hey, you need to be in the wrestling business. So I kind of hooked up with Bubba for a while, hung out with him, and other than going to strip clubs and stuff, never got booked on a show.
Right.
So I had been sending tapes out to people over the years. Gene Anderson and Buzz Tyler had contacted me, and nothing really came of it. They gave me further people to send tapes to. And long story short, me and my friend Jeff are watching WCW Saturday Night, and there was a jobber named Ralph Hodges who was on there, listed as from Columbia, South Carolina.
Sure, Snake Lewis.
So we freaked out and went, Ralph Hodges, Columbia, South Carolina. We got on the phone book and started to look up Ralph Hodges.
Really?
And, like a couple of marks, we called him up and got a hold of Ralph.
Yeah.
Talked to him, hung out with him, and acted like total marks.
Sure.
And he got me booked on my first indie show.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll go back to the old stories. But so I did the insane, surrealistic, in the truest sense of the word, Carolina indie scene for a while.
Right.
And then I started basically meeting somebody who was higher on the card wherever we were, and would kind of hook up with them, and they'd get me booked to a slightly better promotion, and it led to one thing and another, and I kind of tried to learn my craft, and wound up, I think my first TV was South Atlantic Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
And that lasted, I don't remember if I went there 3 times or if we did 3 shows on the first taping.
Yeah.
But I did that, so I actually had a tape of me being on TV.
Right.
That I started sending around instead of the ghetto stuff I was doing, where because I didn't have the proper setup to do it, instead of like making a dub of a dub,
right.
send the tape out, I would take my 8mm video camera and videotape the TV screen of the VHS,
right? Yeah,
and then take that.
Yeah.
And so, for whatever reason, the only way I could do it was to videotape the TV screen,
Sure.
and then send a VHS dub of that.
Right. Yeah.
And Jim Cornette got a hold of it and brought me to Smoky Mountain. I lasted there about 9 or 10 months. That ran out. I got fired, and then moseyed around on the Indies for a couple of years, and I went to WCW. I was there from '97 until late '99. It was either early '96 or late '96 or early '97 till late '99. A couple more months off in between. Went to ECW until they ran out of gas. Sat around for, I don't know, another year or whatever in between, 6
Right.
months. TNA started up, and went to work for TNA, and for the most part, with some months off in between, I was with TNA from 2002 until 2008, and here we are.
Right. Now, you kind of glazed over, and I know you got a long career there. You kind of ran by a couple of things I want to touch back base on really quickly. Your time in ECW, and I think that's where you really gained the reputation of being one of the best talkers in the business. Tell us a little bit about your time in ECW, and how, and what do you think about what's been going on with ECW since the Heyman era went away?
Got to light a cigarette here.
Yeah, that's very important for you to do, Jim, in the middle of an interview.
Got to. Shame I don't have any beer in front of me.
I'm surprised that you don't, actually.
Right. Now, when I went to ECW, I mean, it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. I really had no business being in WCW at the time either. I mean, I was like I was dropped off on an alien planet because it was so different from anything I ever did.
Right.
You know, and I thank God for the opportunity, and the Bischoff was kind enough to hire me,
Sure.
even though nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
But I had like my year run. Basically, I was paid for a year to be in WCW, and then spent 2 years getting mailbox money.
Yeah.
Right. So when Heyman took me in, looking back at it, I'm just astounded that he did so, because I had not achieved anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he, my God, he paid me.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not deserve the push or the pay that I got there based upon my talent, looking back at it now. Mm-hmm. But what he did do was he gave me a great platform
Sure.
to play with.
Yeah, to go crazy.
And pretty much what happened there was, when I got there, I didn't know who or what I was going to do, who I was or what I was going to do. I didn't know. And somehow, I evolved into, I'm going to try this devil thing.
Yeah.
And it turned into, instead of being a heel gimmick, a comedy gimmick with Mikey, and then Tajiri was added to the mix. And what we were doing I wasn't really a manager, because, as Mikey will tell you, every time Mikey lost, I never went to the ring with him.
Yeah.
If he was going to lose, I wasn't at ringside.
Yeah.
But if he got over, I was out there, which I guess was by design.
Sure.
He actually asked Paul about that one time. He said, "Hey, Paul, why is it every time the devil goes out with me, I win, and every time he's not there, I lose?" But anyway, but what we were doing were these ridiculous skits. And
right.
Again, looking back at it now, I'm like, how in the hell did I get that much TV time?
Yeah.
And just to be doing goofy backstage skits.
Right.
Actually the kind of stuff that I would complain about the current wrestling product.
Yeah, exactly.
So much gaga going on backstage that wasn't translating into stories. I mean, it wasn't like we were furthering anything. It was like we were like in our own little alternate universe or dimension, separate from the wrestling for a long time.
Yeah.
But he gave me an opportunity to just play with things, and some of the stuff stuck, some of it didn't, and it's funny, a lot of people now go, oh, some of that was brilliant, and I can look at it, and I want to get in a fetal position and hide in bed for 5 days when I see it. Yeah. But it was all part of the formative process.
Sure.
But it was a cool. That's probably. I mean, in terms of just sheer having fun.
Yeah.
Other than when we rode down the road, and I'm not saying that to blow smoke up your ass.
Right. Sure. I appreciate it.
Because when we were breaking in together.
Jimmy, hold up. Let me hold you up right there. We're up on a break. We'll pick it up right there when we come back. More Inside Wrestling Radio coming up next.